I'm Dylan, and welcome to Twisted Wrench Garage. What's up, YouTube? Thanks for joining me on another episode of Twisted Wrench Garage. Today we're actually going to take care of this 1990 Dodge Short Wide bed. Customer wants it lowered like mine. So we got the parts in. Got the lower control arms from a D150 van. Those are going to go up front. Then we've got an axle flip kit, which is just the axle perches with the new U-bolts and etc. for the back. So it's really not a hard job. Just wanted to share with you guys, how you guys can do this for pretty cheap. Parts for these aren't too bad, I think. I remember getting my lower control arms. I think I paid $80 to $100 each, and then for the flip kit it was like 60, 70 bucks. But I can't remember exactly. It's been back in April, so it's been months since I lowered my truck. He just wanted me to take care of his truck, so we're going to go ahead and get started on getting lowering this. We're going to start with the front first because obviously that's always the easiest. I'll go through the process of showing you guys how to relocate your strut rod bolts to go to here in this location. I'll show you a little trick that I learned from Local's garage. I also used it on mine. We'll also need to trim off this steering stop here, and then we'll also need to trim the bump stop on the actual truck itself. A lot of people remove them all together, which you can do, but I like to just cut off the bump stop itself and leave about a 1/4 inch of rubber on there, just so it has something to absorb that bounce if it does get low enough. Because on these, once you do the lower control arm swap on the front, and you do get it lowered with just all this by itself, it will cause your wheels camber to be inward just a little bit. I know mine has that same problem, but to correct that, a lot of people get there's a guy named Brandon, I believe. He makes upper control arms for him that is supposed to correct that. I haven't gotten the chance to get it set for my truck. He might just decide to get a pair for his truck. I don't know. He just wanted to get it lowered because he's also got a set of 20s, factory 20-inch Steelies that he wants to throw on this truck. So we're going to get that done with the adapters that he ordered as well. So let's dive on in. Let's start tearing apart this front end, and we'll get this old girl lowered down to the ground and get her stance nice and right. All right, guys, I thought I would share a little walk around to the truck real quick before we started tearing into it. It's a really nice truck, really straight body. It is a 1990 model, so it is that half year that I was talking about in a prior video about that Ram Charger we went and got. So this is the same kind of deal on this one. So this is a 90 and a half, so which means that it's the upper 90 and a half, which means it's got this grill, because that's the way it is. So before the other half was going to be like my grill, which is on Ramona, which is the old style cross grill, and then you have the older grill, which is all the honeycomb style. But get a real good look at that body line. Really good, really straight body. It's a really nice truck. I think it's a low mileage truck. Some big fat meaties on the back, but that's going to be changing when he gets those 20s on there. I mean, all around this truck is really nice. It's got a really good body on it. I haven't seen any rust on it anywhere. And there's even that passenger side. It looks good. Kind of jealous of that passenger fender myself. I wish mine wasn't so dinged up. Go around here. You can see his just has a little nice patina on it. So really all this truck needs is a good little clean off and a sweet patina sauce put on there, and this thing right here would shine up really good. Let's take a look at this interior. Alright, as you guys can tell, it's fairly clean. He needs a new armrest here. So maybe that's something we'll have to go back in the back and grab for him if he has one. Gotta have to see if we got one in red, obviously. The dash is in really good shape. I mean, if you guys have seen any of these square body Dodges with a dash that is all cracked up and busted out and got holes in it, let me know down below, because I have yet to see a dash in one of these trucks that is all cracked up and busted. They have all been really, really good shape. Maybe some of them might have been painted, but they're really good shape. There's no holes or anything like that. This looks like an AC truck. Seat is in really good shape, other than a little wear from the old buttocks over there. Let's walk around there. We'll take a closer look at that. All right. Yeah, definitely got that wear, just like on mine. Same material as mine too, which is interesting. They must have really liked this material for a lot of years. This reddish with a white tint to it. But like I said, it is an AC truck. Let this focus. Focus, there it is. Original stereo, factory AC. Take a look at the mileage there. It's got 191, it looks like. So it is a little, almost at that 200 maybe. But who knows. Really clean looking truck on the inside. Alright, well, let's get you guys in position. We'll start tearing apart this driver's side and we'll get to this, get this old girl lowered. Alright, that's free. Now we want to get the strut rod free, and then we need to get our lower ball joint free. We need a pair of pliers for that cotter pin. We need a wrench maybe for these top ones. We'll see. Let's go ahead and get this cotter pin out. Got the ball joint broke free. Whoops. I'm undoing that nut and I'm leaving it still threaded on there quite a bit, and then I'm going to break it free. There's two ways you can break it free. One is with the old hammer and just a handheld pickle fork. Or, since I've been graciously allowed to use this shop equipment, I'm going to use this air chisel with the pickle fork attachment. That didn't want to work. Alright, looks like I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. Now it's started, I'm just going to give it some good wax and it should break free, but the nut will keep it attached. There she went. Once it's free, you should be able to get that out nice and easy. So now at this point, you want to put a jack underneath this lower control arm to keep that pressure on it. So let me get that moved. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the outer tie rod. I remember now, when I did mine, that does, whenever you do it this way, you leave this attached, when that lower control arm comes down, it does catch the base of this brake dust shield. So I am going to need to get this disconnected so I can pull this out a little bit as we're bringing that down. No biggie. Can't get this one out in one piece. Alright, got that cotter pin out in one piece. That's a bonus. Let's see. Where do you think that is? Not that. Probably this 13, 16 right here. No? How about 3/4? No? 7/8? We got a winner. Alright. Can we get this one off with this? No. Alright, outer tie rod out of the way. Now, you should be able to turn this and then just lift this up out of the way. Like so. And now we can slowly let that down again. As you can tell, I had to take the shock off because the lower control arm is actually hitting on the shock, so you do have to take it out. It shows you that I don't really remember all the stuff when I did mine. There's our other shock stuff. Now let's try for a third time to lower this. And that's one out. Alright guys, so I'll show you the process that I use to line up our strut bolts for our new blower controller. But first thing first, we need to cut this steering stop off. Yep. A lot of metal.
Is that much modifier? New parts?
You got to cut off the steering stop because the van has a steering stop.
Oh,
And then you got to move. You got to drill the two strut rod holes. Just went through a little black rust Krylon on there where I ground it down just to make it look a little better. All right, so to get the strut rod location bolts, what I do is I just get a piece of cardboard, go through the bottom and poke some holes so I can line up the shock mount bolts on the bottom, and then I just make the holes for that. Then we'll just transfer it over to the new one. Might need longer bolts. We'll see. Those started. Not all the way, then we'll just put our holes there. Alright, we got the driver's side nearly all put together. Only thing left to put in is the shock. It just goes back in its original spot. Got this replaced. Put a new cotter pin in it. We also got lower ball joint nut on and new cotter pin installed there. We got our lower strut rod installed. Ugh. That's these two bolts. Right. Oh, I'm covering up your light. Go back to the other side. That is these two bolts right here. These are those two holes that you drill. Nice and dirty in here. But this side is nearly all complete. Just got to put, like I said, put that shock in. And if I wasn't real clear about what steps you need to do to get this all taken apart, you will need to disconnect the outer tie rod, the lower ball joint. You're going to need to remove the shock entirely. The lower ball joint is going to be the last thing you do. You'll leave the nut partially on while you use a pickle fork to separate it to pop that free. Then with the jack underneath, you'll be able to lower this lower control arm down to get the spring tension out. It's where you can actually grab that spring, pull it out, and then you can unbolt the lower control arm. The passenger side is all apart. Passenger side is all apart. Springs there. Everything is all prepped and ready for this to get put back together. So the only thing that we need to do today is we need to drill our holes here for our strut rod for our passenger side. I've already cut off the bump stop on this side, and then that side will be ready to install. One other thing you guys are gonna have to keep in mind, and I didn't actually mention this whenever I was all putting the other side back together or taking it apart, but the lower control arm bolt, which you see right there, you actually have to go up a size to 3/4 to match the lower control arms from a van, or you can get a sleeve to downsize the sleeve inside there to go from 3/4 to the size that it is. I think it's like 5/16 or something. But that's one other thing to keep in mind. So let's tear back into this and let's get this thing all finished up. Alright, last thing we need to do after we get that shock in is trim down this bump stop. Let's see. It's going to be the best angle of attack here. We're going to go from this way. Good enough for now. We'll see how she sits whenever we put her down, see how close she is to it, and then we'll determine if we need to cut more off. So this side is done. Let's go back there and get the rest of that other side prepped and ready for this to go back on the other side. We also still need to tighten up our lower control arm bolt, so I'll go ahead and I'll take care of that as well. Alright, so you also have to drill these out. To be able to fit your new bolt, your new 3/4 bolt. A little bit bigger. Let's try that. A little bit bigger. Try that. Almost, just a little bit bigger. Just like that. We fit through one side. Now we just need to do the other. we fit. I'm gonna start slapping this thing together. I just need to get the top done, and I'm going to show you how I did that because this shock is a little shorter. So we're going to jack up this just to get our nut started up here, and then we'll get it going. love to be able to get a socket in here, but it just won't work because you have to have a deep socket and a ratchet long enough or short enough to fit in here, which I probably have one, but maybe I don't. Get this knocked out. I'm not quite entirely sure he has the wheels and tires ready for this one. He went and got tires for it yesterday. And I know he's got the wheels, and he said he's going to be painting them. So, hopefully he gets those done and ready by the end of the week, or by the time I get done with this. This side is also done, so the front is completed. The only thing we got to do now is put the wheels and tires on it, and this is ready to go. So let me get my mess cleaned up a little bit, and we'll get moved back to that back side, and we'll get started on it. It's 3/8. 12-point bolts. We gonna let the cap go with it, or there we go. I just want to tie that up. Find something to tie that up with. Go. That should be on there. Just need to get the top bolts for the shocks. Ciao. That's completely shot.
You tell the other one's strung out.
Yeah.
Some old Monroe gasmatics.
Probably from what? You take the 97. This one seems like it's all right, but
Get rid of some KYBs.
all right. So there's that. Probably can go get his transmission jack, I guess. And then it's these. And I can set that down. Then I can undo the back ones of these. I think I remember having to fight mine a little bit. because I had to undo it here, and then I had to lift this up and pull it outward to get it to go down. So I'm going to have to do that again. Different side. He's gonna have to get new U-bolts too. You can't reuse these. Because they're flat, they're not rounded.
Oh, he gave you some for your truck there,
What?
U-bolts.
He did. He gave me he gave me the nuts for them.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Hmm?
How do you remount that thing? That's a fall forward on it. You got that weight on the back. For all the weights toward the front of that rear end.
Yep.
Yeah, I think sometimes tackles are on the jack. You know, for the rear end.
Yeah.
Probably make some kind of plate for it.
I can tell you, having this air tool for this part, oh my god. I was just doing this and then I'd be like,
Oh, yeah.
okay, take a break. All right, go back. I'm like, son of a gun, man.
I put 3 reds, that little red, I know how that is.
Man, it sucks.
It never got easier.
Nope, never does. So that's gonna have to go in there. And that'll actually lift his a little bit, I think. It'll be his a little bit taller than mine on the back. So now I need to disconnect that. Need to come over here. Let's see about this e-brake cable. A little more room out of it.
Really, what you get first is a tube.
Yeah, these in himself. Ready? He said he wants to go this one first and then go through every one.
Yeah.
If you take practice. You too, man. Alright guys, so a few things you're going to need to do when it comes to lowering the back. You're going to need to take your lower shock mount plates and take the top plate off the leaf that is usually there whenever the axle is under the leaf spring, and you'll just take that, lop off the little tab that's on there, and then you can weld this on here flush, and that'll give you your flat surface with your mounting locator pin right there, as well as got this other side taken care of. Another thing you're going to need to do is get some new U-bolts, because the old style, these C-bolts, aren't going to work with what we're doing, because this has to actually hug the axle, whereas this before would just hug the leaf spring, and that's what it would set on. So all we got to do now is throw those on. I did go ahead and get a few things done off camera with the help of Mike. We're able to find his transmission jack, and that made things so much easier. But we did get the leaf up, or the axle up over the leaf springs. The way I do it is I just move the vent tube off the axle. I disconnect one of the emergency brake cables from right there. Then that'll give you the opportunity to move the axle that way, twist it a little bit, and you can get one of the sides up. Then you bring it this way, and then you can get the other side up. So not too bad. More helpful if you have an extra set of hands to help you out and get it all lined up. So we're going to go ahead and get this all patched up, and the last thing we have to do after getting the new U-bolts on is we're going to need to set the pinion angle on that to match our transmission, and I'll show you how to do that and what tool we're going to use, as well as we also need to weld up the new axle perches, and we may or may not be removing this. It just depends on how much clearance we have, etc. So we will see how that goes. So I'll get you guys all set up and we'll get this done. Alright guys, so right now we're underneath the truck. We're at the tail shaft of the transmission. We're going to use this Johnson magnetic protractor angle finder. We're actually going to use the magnetic side because that's why we got it. We're going to stick it right here. Oh, let's see if I can get a better look at it. Alright, so we are down. We're pointed down about 3 degrees. So we just need to match that with our rear, and I'll get this all set up for you guys. Alright, as you guys can tell, right now we're sitting right about there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we rotate it just a little bit, and that should be about even. You're allowed to have about 3 or 4 degrees off. You can be off just by about 3 or 4 degrees and be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and lock this side down. As a matter of fact, give me 1 second. I'm going to grab a tape measure, and we also want to check the distance between the brake drum backing plate and the leaf spring on both sides and make sure that they're even. So let me check that real quick, and I'll be right back. Alright, third time's a charm. Let's set this angle. Okay. We lost it a little bit, so now go back a little bit because I haven't fully tightened it yet. Get it about there. We're still about in our area.
Alright, our angle's still pretty good. And like I said, you guys can be off by about 2 or 3, maybe 4 degrees and still be okay. So, and I'll do a little bit better description of why you want to do this, and you know, etc., and what causes can come from you not setting it right. So I'm gonna get that other side tightened up, and then we can get the drive shaft hooked up, and we still need to weld the axle perches and new shocks for the rear, and then get the wheels on them. We're done. So let's get that taken care of.
Alright guys, so this is the best explanation I can give you guys on this. I don't have a whiteboard or nothing here, so I just do it on paper. So you have your transmission here, and this is where you know, your front of your drive shaft is. Now let's say that this drive shaft, or the back of this drive shaft or this transmission is, say, at down 4 degrees. Okay? Now when you relocate your axle to be above the leaf springs, that's going to change your pinion angle and actually make it to where the differential is going to want to point downward. So what you're going to want to do is you want to set your differential to the opposite, negative 4 degrees. Okay? So where this will be pointing up, the transmission will be pointing down. And you can have anywhere between 2 and I would say 5 degrees leeway of not getting that proper. Now, the things that can be you know, the things that can happen if you don't do this properly and your pinion angle is off, is you can experience some vibrations in your drive shaft. Okay, you can also damage this rear pinion seal, and that will end up needing replaced because it puts too much force on either the bottom or top of the pinion seal. It can also damage your internal gears of your differential because it's putting pressure on your output shaft or your input shaft on your differential, and that can actually damage the gears. It can also damage the rear seal of the transmission if that's not set properly. So definitely want to make sure you set your pinion angle properly when you're lowering or lifting your truck, because this does happen both ways. Now the reason why you do that is because as you're driving, your axle moves up and down. Okay? When your axle moves up and down, your pinion angle changes based off of where the axle is in comparison to the frame. And you want to be able to have that flex up and down. And that's why we get this 4 degrees, 4 degrees. This is just guesstimate. This is about what we set ours to. So the 4 degrees and 4 degrees, that way it's a perfectly straight line. And then when it moves up and down, it will actually move equivalent on both sides. So that's the best explanation I can give you guys as to pinion angle and why we set this when we're doing our lowering or raising of our trucks. So I hope this helps you guys out. There she is. He doesn't have the 20-inch wheels just yet. They're at the sandblasters, getting sandblasted so he can paint them. I think he's going black on those. He's, like I said, he's also got the adapters. Right now, it is sitting a little bit lower on this back end because we don't have shocks on it. Last night, he went through and set the 2-inch drop shackles down 2 notches to actually lift up the back end just a little bit because he doesn't have shocks on it yet. But man, she is looking good at that level. Get the back end just a little bit higher. He still has a few other things he needs to get taken care of on it, obviously. But he wanted to get the stance done up, get that right, make it look real good. I think she looks really good. Good little walk around. Yep, she looks good. I know I'm really bad about not getting, you know,
taking a tape measure, measuring the how much we dropped on the front and the back. But I mean, I'll post a before and after photo of the truck and what she looked like with her stance before. She did have different wheels on her. These are some factories that he had laying around just to throw on until he could get those 20s. The wheels that he had on, the rear wheels were 15 by 10s, so that it actually made the rear too wide, and he would have actually been rubbing his fender, or his rear fender essentially. He would have been rubbing right there because it stuck out too far. But once we get the shocks on this thing, he's going to go with air shocks. He'll be able to control the ride, make it ride real nice. Just like on mine, I did notice that the front does have that little bit of inward camber. Now, like I said, there's a gentleman, I believe, there's a guy who makes tubular upper A-arms for these to correct that issue. A guy named Brandon, I think. I can't remember his last name. Guy does really good work. I've seen the control arms. I do plan eventually maybe to get a set for mine, but again, I was on the budget side, so I just kind of went without for now. Same thing with this one here. We went budget on it. Tried to do the lowering as cheap as possible, so all we did was a lower control arms, axle perches, and flip the axle. Legit, literally the only thing we did. So I mean, that should tell you right there, guys. You guys can lower these trucks for like 250 bucks at maximum. If you have somebody else weld it for you, it might cost you a little bit more, but man, these trucks look good lowered, they look good lifted, they look good at stock height. Super happy with it, and he is super happy with how it came out. All right, YouTube, definitely appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of Twisted Wrench Garage this week. Hope it was an exciting episode of lowering another D150. Always have fun lowering those things. Always excited about how they turn out at the very end. They always look really good. I'm always happy how they turn out. This one was a lot easier than mine because it was the second time doing it. So now every time I do it, it's going to get easier and easier. Again, budget lowering kit for your 71 to 93 Dodge D100, D150. So this should cover most of them, guys. Again, I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget, I do have some shirts I can now make. I have decals. I still have the same 5. I know I don't have a whole lot of viewers right now and not a whole lot of demand for them, but I wanted to have some available just in case anybody wanted to buy some. Again, they're $5 each. The shirts, they're going to be $20. Just let me know down in the comments down below for sizes and those kind of things, and we can work something out. Again, thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys on the next one.